Welcome to Kansas City, Kansas, the beautiful sunflower state.
All of the challenges I embrace, and the echoes of triumph, I find my space. Hunt for success with no hesitation, through the highs and the lows with my dedication.
Just 2 races to go before we crown a champion.
Handling is going to come into play.
You will see these cars migrate to the top of the racetrack.
Trouble off turn 2.
I'm not messing around.
I was giving it everything I could there.
This place has a knack for producing new winners.
The penultimate race of the 2025 ARCA Menards Series season brings us back to America's heartland. Welcome to the Reese's 150 on Fox Sports 1. Second time the ARCA Menards Series has come to Kansas, and the stars have come out tonight, including Corey Day making his first start with the series since round 2 at Phoenix, looking for his first career ARCA win, along with the driver of tonight's pilot of the Joe Gibbs Racing number 18, Gio Ruggiero, making start number 2 on the season, starting outside of the front row. But tonight, all eyes on the championship points leader and the driver who has 7 wins thus far this season, Brendan Butterbean Queen, who will be leading us down for the start a short while from now. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday evening. It's time for some ARCA racing. Along with my friends Trevor Bain and Phil Parsons, I'm Eric Brennan. Pleasure to be with you. And Phil, 29 cars are entered in this race, and no matter how in-depth we try to handicap this field, 2 numbers still float their way to the top.
Yeah, it's 18 and 28, and that goes back not only for tonight, but the beginning of the 2024 season. These 2 cars have dominated. We've seen what Butterbean Queen has been able to do this year with his 7 wins. Well, that Gibbs car, that 18 car, has 5 wins. But look, let's take a look at the numbers from the beginning of the 2024 season. We've had several different drivers drive these cars. These are the guys that have gone to victory lane in these 2 cars. You see Butterbean's 7 wins. How about last year? Sawalich won 9 times and only 14 starts. We've got another guy you just mentioned, Gio Ruggiero. He's going to make a start on that 18 car. His second start of the year, as you were talking about. He had a top 5 at Michigan in his first start. But he's had a lot of experience here lately. He's done a great job in the Truck Series. And oh, by the way, he finished in the top 5 in the Truck Series here earlier this year, Trevor.
Yeah, I think from looking at the names on those lists, you can tell that if you drive one of these 2 cars, you're going to go somewhere, and we've seen that. Even with Brendan Queen, you know, he's got opportunities with Colleague to run the Xfinity race this weekend. Gio Ruggiero running full-time in the Truck Series. And the thing that's impressed me about Gio the most this year is his work ethic and his ability to just get better every single weekend. It seems like, you know, if you look back at the beginning of the Truck Series versus now, his performance has just increased every single week. And he puts in the work. He spends the time. He gets on iRacing and put 30 or 40 hours in this week for Kansas. I've seen it firsthand. This is a track where putting in work makes a difference. We've seen as it's aged since they repaved it in 2012 that it's just gotten harder and harder to drive. You can move around, change your line. And I think the ultimate question is tonight, with this cooler air, darker, gets late, is it going to be on the bottom? Is it going to be on the top? Where are you going to make speed at, Eric?
I guess we're going to find out here shortly. Now, in terms of the big picture in the championship chase, one driver right now is in sole possession and command of that title fight, and that's our points leader, Brendan Butterbean Queen. But the driver chasing him in the points, who's been sniffing victory lane several times in his career, came up a little bit short last time out at Salem. Amanda Busick is with LeVar Scott.
LeVar Scott was oh so close in Salem for his first win in the series. And I know, Eric, you know how heartbroken LeVar was in that post-race interview, but the words, "it's going to happen, it's going to happen." How much belief do you have in yourself for that moment, LeVar?
I have a lot of belief. When I tell you I think I'm one of the hardest working drivers out there, and I fully believe that because I just know what I'm doing. Aside from the racetrack to make me a better driver, I really believe that. So, like I said, it's going to happen, and whenever God says it will, and I'm just going to keep working my butt off and just we're driving good cars. I think each race we're getting the car better and better. I think today we're struggling a little bit in qualifying our practice, but we'll be fine.
And LeVar's work shows this season with 11 top 5s. He'll roll off 8th. Caitlin?
Well, another driver with a good qualifying effort, Isabella Robusto, who qualified 6th. How's the weekend been making the transition as well with a new crew chief with Shannon Rush?
It's been good. We've had a really fast Mobile One Toyota Camry today. Making changes throughout practice, kind of aiming towards what we want for the race versus what we wanted for qualifying. So happy with the effort we had, and I think we'll be good here come race time.
Well, good luck to you. Isabella Robusto rolling off 6th momentarily for the race tonight.
Thanks, Caitlin. 31st time the ARCA Menards Series has competed here at Kansas. It's time to go trackside to fire the engines for the Reese's 150.
Kansas Speedway, give a big NASCAR welcome to Jeff Abbott. He's here tonight representing Menards and to say the most famous words in motorsports. Take it away, Jeff.
What a beautiful night, right? Yes. On behalf of John Menard and the Menards family, we thank you so much for your support. So, without further ado, it's time, isn't it? Everybody with me? Drivers, start your engines!
A track so nice, we get to run it twice on the ARCA Menards Series calendar. We'll come on back for the green flag from Kansas right after this.
It is Brendan Queen who will win the season opener at Daytona. Dominating the event, Brendan Queen wins at Kansas.
Queen is going to grab win number 3 in 2025. He gets the job done at Michigan.
B-Nation time tonight, boys. Queen takes the checkered flag for the 4th time this season on the Monster Mile.
Brendan Butterbean Queen wins at Iowa Speedway.
6th win of the season. Brendan Butterbean Queen wins at Du Quoin. The best of the best in ARCA competition have been able to win at Salem. Brendan Butterbean Queen is going to add his name to that list. 7th win of 2025. Butterbean's got 2 more chances to add to his win total on the season as we're back for the Reese's 150 at the Kansas Speedway, round number 19 of the ARCA Menards Series season. He also had a chance to add to the pole number in 2025, and he did that earlier today by capturing our General Tire Pole Award. Brendan Butterbean Queen, his 4th pole of 2025, and he will lead the field down to the start.
By the way, that's 8th time in the last 12 races, the 28 and the 18. They've been on the front row.
And they are going to make up the front row here as our Reese's starting grid is going to be scrolling across the bottom portion of your screen. As we said, Queen and Ruggiero, the 28 and 18 cars, are going to make up the front row to start this race. That is the potent combo that we will be keeping our eyes on for sure, with Butterbean looking for win number 8 on the season, hoping to push himself further to, I don't want to think that the championship would be in doubt, Phil, but nevertheless, a little bit more pride going into the finale at Toledo next week.
Yeah, and Butterbean told us last week at Salem that he really hasn't been feeling great 100% since Watkins Glen. Well, his worst finish since Watkins Glen is 4th, and he's had 2 wins. So I don't know that he needs to feel good to get to victory lane or have a good run.
I think really since we first saw Butterbean Queen, he's shown that he can do what it takes to win these races. And now as he's developed through this ARCA season, you just see him getting better and better. We saw right there 8 of these last 12 races, these 2 cars on the front row. But Brendan Queen has been getting the better of the 18 cars some of these times. And so that's tough to do when you've got a Joe Gibbs Toyota behind you. You know you got to hold him up. That's a tall order, Phil.
It sure is.
As far as how the championship picture looks coming into this race, Butterbean the points leader by 57 markers over LeVar Scott. Lawless Allen, as we mentioned a couple of times, been out of the seat for that 20 team for Venerini Motorsports due to funding. The team wishes him all the best. Still slotted in 3rd in points after a great year and a win at Talladega. The biggest battle right now, though, gentlemen, Jason Kitzmiller and Isabella Robusto for that 4th spot. That's a tight margin with 2 races to go.
Yeah, Kitzmiller's been really consistent, piling up the top 10s. Isabella, whenever she has a bad race, like she had a couple of races ago, she always bounces back with a strong race. Look for her to have a great run tonight.
Let's get some late-breaking stories from pit road. We'll start it off with Caitlin Vincey.
Well, Eric, keep an eye on Corey Day. Already eventful day for the team after an oil line came off in practice. They still had a good qualifying effort, qualified 4th, but I had a chance to talk with Corey about how he's really starting to find his footing in these various series that he competes in. And he said also Kansas Speedway is his favorite track he's been to in this NASCAR endeavor. He had a top 5 performance at this racetrack a year ago. I also asked him, how much do you lean on Cup Series star Kyle Larson for advice? He said, quite a bit. He said, the quality of my questions to Kyle have improved. The quantity, it has decreased the more I learn in this series. Amanda?
Well, Caitlin, it has turned into an eventful night for the guy pulling double duty here this weekend, and Leland Honeyman Jr. He was just told that he has to go to the rear after qualifying third earlier today, and he took full accountability. He said, I forgot the driver's meeting. So ARCA has pushed him to the back. He feels confident about his race car here tonight and said, go grab some cheese crackers and watch me move forward. Guys.
Thank you both. We're certainly going to have our eyes on that 20 car as he'll be working his way up through the field. Let's take a look at the race analysis for tonight's 150-miler.
Yeah, see, this race is going to be 100 laps on this mile-and-a-half track. That'll be 150 miles. You see our pit window somewhere between 60 and 65 laps. We will have a scheduled race break at lap on or around near lap number 50. But anytime the caution comes out, these drivers can bring these cars down pit road, change tires, put fuel in them if they want, but they know they're going to have a race break at lap 50, and you see the last 3 winners of this race. And oh, by the way, those are the 28 and the 18, all 3 of those wins.
Seeing a common thread here, Phil.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the track description. We know that this is a fast 1.5-mile track, but what makes this place so fun is the banking. The way it goes from 17 degrees up to 20 degrees, it gives the drivers options. I mentioned earlier it was repaved in 2012. This place was so fast when it had new pavement. It has slowed down some over the last couple years, but it gives you more options now. As the pace falls off, you don't have to be right around that white line. We might see that early in a run, and they're going to move on up to the top in that higher banking field.
When they reconfigured this racetrack, they got it right.
They did. I agree.
And it continues to deliver more than a decade later. Lights are out atop the pace car. Let's take a look at a couple of the unique vantage points that we've got tonight with some of our onboards.
That's a Suchi Fast Track onboard for Gio Ruggiero. Again, outstanding year, first year in the Truck Series, coming off a top 5 finish in this Truck Series race here in the spring.
We're also going to ride along with our championship points leader and 7-time winner this season. It's our General Tire on board with the pole sitter, Brendan Butterbean Queen, who will be showing us pretty much clear racetrack to start this race alongside of that of Gio Ruggiero as they both make up the front row. Wrapping up the final parade and pace lap before the race gets underway. We mentioned this racetrack opened back in 2001. As Phil mentioned, the reprofiling in 2012. It's delivered very exciting and competitive ARCA races ever since.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that makes ARCA so unique in comparison to our top 3 NASCAR series is the restart, or the initial start of these races. You're going to see how much of an advantage the leader has on these restarts or initial starts. There's a launch line, not a restart zone like we see in the Cup Series on Sundays. So that timing for that leader to launch at that exact line is nice for the second place car to know that, but the caveat to that is you cannot beat the leader to that line or the start finish line on the initial start.
And that's how LeVar Scott actually lost that race at Salem last week. He was on his way to victory. The caution came out, they had a restart, and Butterbean timed that restart perfectly. He didn't beat LeVar to the line, but he beat him to turn 1.
We're going to see who gets the launch here. I think that's going to be everything for turn 1 to get this lead early on.
And the driver with choice, Brendan Queen, has picked the bottom to start this race. 100 laps, 150 miles for the penultimate race of 2025. Green flag is in the air, and the Reese's 150 from Kansas is underway. It was a good launch initially, but here comes Giro challenging for the lead on the top side in 1 and 2.
How about 3 wide for 3rd, 4th, and 5th?
Still 3 wide as the leaders are still door to door.
Let's make it 4 wide maybe for a second.
LeVar thought about it. Here's Butterbean trying to power forward, but can't quite clear with Giro for the top spot as they come around to complete lap 1, and it's Gio who leads the opening go-around.
Yeah, Brendan got that initial launch out of the restart zone, and I thought he was going to be able to clear Gio, but getting through the gears, Gio did a nice job, got to his right rear, and that's the thing you're going to have to protect all night is that right rear quarter panel. If the driver gets there, they're going to have advantage into that next straightaway, which leads them with leverage into the next corner.
Keep an eye on that 77 car of Corey Day. Remember, we documented he had issues in practice, really limited his practice time, but had a great qualifying effort, and it looks like he's the match for these two right now.
Well, Phil, you and I watched his qualifying lap, and I think he passed the car on his fastest lap running the top, so it shows the speed that 77 has.
A little bit further back, Mason Mitchell has made up a couple of spots to crack the top 5. There's the 46 of Thad Moffitt returning to ARCA competition inside of Andy Jankowiak and the Cross Motorsports number 73 in their final scheduled start of 2025.
Guys, I got to tell you, I'm kind of a race fan right now. Anytime we go to a racetrack and on lap 3, they're running from top to bottom, 3, 4 wide. How do you not love a track like this?
I was talking to Geo's crew chief, Matt Ross. I said, will you guys move to the top? He said, absolutely we will.
Oh, Jankowiak thought about squeezing outside of Robusto on the approach to turn 1. Had to lift getting into the corner, and will try to rip the top off too.
Yeah, look at that run he's going to get off the top. That's the advantage to the top. Now he's going to cross over, go to the bottom, have leverage into turn 3, and drive it in deep, and hopefully slide job on Robusto here as he gets clear.
Nice job by Andy J. Andy J had a really good car in the spring. Unfortunately, was racing up in the top 5 and got into the outside wall after contact from Corey Day.
Jankowiak now setting his sights on Mason Mitchell, former winner here in ARCA Menards competition, did so in 2015. And Jankowiak remains committed to that top lane, especially on this end of the racetrack.
That yellow car is Thad Moffitt. Remember, Thad started out the beginning of the year. I think he had 4 top 10s in the first 6 races, but then the funding kind of dried up for him. He's been back in this car sporadically, but doing a nice job now up in the top 10.
One of 2 cars in the field tonight being fielded out of the Nitro Motorsports camp. Taylor Reimer in the 70 also in competition here tonight for that organization as things settle out in this fight for about 6th on back.
Andy J is committed to the top of the racetrack. You can see the momentum, Trevor, you was talking about as he exits the corner.
Well, and I think that's the right move right now, Phil. I think the top takes care of the tires a little bit better. If you can just break even up there on the long run, it's going to pay dividends. But as we go further and further into the night, that bottom may come to life. We see that in the Truck Series here, where it migrates up the racetrack. And then later in the race, with limited horsepower, these cars are close to wide open on the beginning of a run. So that bottom may come to life later in the night.
Talked about this 70 car, Taylor Reimer making a pass on last week's runner-up, who ironically drove this car that Taylor is in to a 2nd place finish. Reimer making her 5th career start, but most notably 2nd ARCA start on pavement and 1st on a track of this size.
Yeah, the ARCA Series has a test day prior to the first race here earlier this spring, and Taylor was actually here getting some track time tested here, so she's not a stranger to this racetrack, but this is her first race on a 1.5 miles.
Yeah, I ran into Taylor at Bristol. She was there supporting her boyfriend Corey Heim, who runs in the Truck Series, and she was telling me how excited she was for this race, but also a little bit, you know, of the unknowns that creep in. When you've never been to a 1.5 mile track, there's a lot of things from the aero side, or just, you know, what kind of balance does your car need to have to be fast? I think she's asked a lot of those questions, and throughout this week worked with Corey a lot to get those answers.
Continuing to work over Patterson, who runs 11th, back in his family-owned team. From the jump, it has been the JGR 18. Gio Ruggiero has led all the way. We'll be back to Kansas right after this. Welcome back to the Reese's 150 at the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Gio Ruggiero qualified 2nd, got the jump on the opening lap, and has walked away from the field to the tune of about 2 seconds. And he continues to parade this contest, coming around to 85 laps to go. See the margin there. Back to Brendan Queen, our pole sitter, who currently runs in that 2nd spot. And gentlemen, we were watching throughout the break lane choice for these top 2. Even though they're not really racing around each other right now, there's definitely some commitment by the leader, and it looks like some experimenting going on by the 2nd place runner.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to search around. Obviously not a lot of rubber on the racetrack right now with ARCA. Later in the weekend as Cup and Xfinity gets on, this track's going to take a lot of rubber, but for these cars, not a big deal. They're just searching around to find where their car is the best balanced. If you're loose, can you move up and get a little more grip? Can you move down? What can you do to manipulate the balance, which you have a lot of options here. I've seen, though, that they've traded off lap times. There are 3 or 4 laps where Gio runs faster, and then Brendan will search around. He'll go faster. So I think both of these cars have the speed to contend for this win. It's going to be who figures it out, who can string together 15 laps at a time and being disciplined.
And we saw Butterbean that time run the bottom of the racetrack. I was talking to Gio's crew chief, Matt Ross, earlier today, and I said, you know, what do you think about tonight? He said, we really don't know. We haven't raced here at nighttime for several years now, so we're not exactly sure what's going to happen, but obviously Gio is making some good time top of the racetrack.
Well, and you hear the throttle time. I mean, they're almost wide open right now. So I would imagine as it cools down, that's just going to get more and more.
For more on the 28, let's go to Caitlin.
Well, guys, you talked about the dominance that Brendan has had this season and the amount of wins. And I asked Brendan if he believes this has been a career-defining year for him. He told me he definitely thinks it has been in terms of the exposure, being able to show his talents on a much bigger stage. And I asked him about seeing Connor Zilic and Corey Heim also having that dominance in the other series. And he said it's been really special to come fill that seat that Connor raced in and have the results that he had, very similar results. And he said both Corey Heim and I also were mentored by Lee Pulliam in our late model days, so it's been very rewarding to see their late model translate over to these series as well. But he said, yeah, across the board, it's just been really special for all three of those drivers to have the campaigns that they have had this season. Eric?
Thanks, Caitlin. And as you see, crew chief Stephen Dawson watching along. We've been noticing going into the corner, really turn 3 last time around. That 28 car got a little bit light in the back.
Yeah, as Trevor said, he's just searching around right now, trying to find some grip. He was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap. So.
Yeah, and I think that's something you have to have at Kansas. You go back and watch Tanner Gray here and his win in that 18 car. He was really loose throughout the whole run. If you're tight here, there's not a lot of options. You're just kind of hanging on. It causes you to lift more to get it to turn, and you want to be right on the edge of being too loose, but you can't overstep that. And we see Brennan getting pretty free into 3, as you just mentioned here.
Caitlin alluded to some of the domination we've seen across multiple stock car platforms, and we've got a visual to put it all here to you with all the numerical figures attached. Not only has Butterbean been able to rack up 7 wins so far this season, he's trying to get 2 more to join these 2, but they may add some by the time we close out the season next week.
You see those 9 wins by Corey Haim. That time's the all-time record held by Greg Biffle, and he's still got a few more opportunities to break that record.
Well, and what's crazy is that number could easily be 14 wins or so at this point, Phil. If you look at the races, Homestead, the battery cut off on him. You look at Pocono leading the race, and the left rear tire goes flat. I could, put a handful of races together. It could have easily been a win for that 11 truck. Sure. It's so strong.
Now, we talked about Leland Honeyman, who was scheduled to start 3rd, having to drop to the rear after missing the drivers' meeting. Here he is, overtaking last week's 2nd place finisher and Andrew Patterson to move up to the 12th spot. For more on the 20 car, we'll go to Amanda.
Yeah, as you see Leland continue to move up in this field, so I hope everyone out there is eating those cheesy crackers as he told us to watch him move forward. By lap 15, he was already in that P13 spot as he made that pass on Andrew Patterson, but he did radio to the team and said, we need more speed out here, or I'm afraid we're going to go a lap down. We did talk to Kevin Reed Jr., his crew chief, and he said if there was a caution, we may consider doing something with that information from Leland, but I'm not panicked right now, guys.
3rd start of the year for Honeyman, finished 4th at Bristol, 3rd at Salem. The trend should keep him on the podium here at Kansas if he can keep working his way up. His only prior experience here at Kansas Speedway was in an Xfinity car. Ran a stretch of races across 2023 and 2024. He's figuring out how to rip an ARCA car through traffic pretty quickly.
He's about 24 seconds behind our leader right now, Gio Ruggiero, and he's running within about 3/10 of what Gio's been able to run. But now that he has clean racetrack, actually now he's got the 11 car that he's going to need to maneuver around. Clean racetrack will certainly help him.
It does, Phil, and I've been watching that with our leaders. When they catch a lap car, it's 6 to 8 tenths. If they take their line away, it really slows them down, and that will be a factor at some point in the race tonight for that battle for the lead. You see right here, 13th place is in jeopardy of going a lap down with that 40 at Patterson. So the leaders are coming quickly, but they need to pick which lane to go pretty fast and not lose lap time.
Quarter of the way through this race and just about halfway up towards what would be our one and only planned caution at the halfway mark. Gio Ruggiero still holding serve. Back at the Kansas Speedway for the Reese's 150 for round number 19 of the ARCA Menards Series. And we are under our first caution with 30 laps complete, 70 to go in the race. And it was for a hard shot on the front straightaway for the Rise Motorsports number 31 of Bobby Dale Earnhardt. His 2nd start with this team and with the series in quite some time. And you see he has fortunately climbed from the car after what was a wicked hit on the front straightaway.
Watch that just before the start-finish line, and that car just turns right. He's trying to turn left there to follow the contour of the racetrack, and that right front tire goes down, Trevor, and he's just along for the ride.
That's a helpless feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby Dale, who also ran for this team at Bristol, was involved in an unfortunate and similar incident there as well that put him out of the race and put him 30th. He was running 17th at the time, and it will be our first yellow of this race. And again, this caution coming out here on lap number 29. Here it is again.
Such a wild place for a right front tire to blow, too. It really catches you off guard on the front stretch like that. Maybe you felt it going down through 3 and 4 and got slowed down a little bit, but
yeah, thank goodness that the entire front straightaway is rimmed by the safer barrier. Certainly lessens that impact.
Bobby Dale, fourth-generation racer, eldest child of Kerry Earnhardt, an older brother of Jeffrey Earnhardt, in his second ARCA start, and what was a revitalization of his racing career after some time away from this type of competition. And unfortunately, it will be 2 consecutive races that the night ends on the hook for him and this team. His caution is going to erase the 2-second advantage that Gio Ruggiero had been able to work over Brendan Butterbean Queen, but the trend continued where they each continued to trade fast lap times at the time of the caution flag. While the safety crew continues to work on the front straightaway to clear the scene, we'll step aside and come back for the restart here at Kansas. ARCA Menards Series Racing on FS1 is brought to you by General Tire, hashtag GT Delivers. And by Reese's, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Reese's, not sorry. Working our first caution of the race in the Reese's 150 on a beautiful Friday night in Kansas City, Kansas. Temperatures were in the high 80s pretty much all day long, but now that the sun has gone down, the race fans who have come out here to kick off this busy weekend have thus far been able to enjoy what was a fast-paced start to the race before this first yellow, with cleanup efforts continuing in the tri-oval. Pit road is open, and the race leader is coming down the pit lane under this first yellow.
How about that? Now, we normally don't see that in these ARCA races with these mid-race breaks.
well, I mean, Phil, we were just talking, we've already seen a second and a half of fall off on these tires. So any tire advantage is big, which great news for Gio until that lap 50 break. But after that, you know, if the 28 car's got 15 lap newer tires, that's going to be tough to hold off. Amanda.
Yeah, you'll see the team start to work on that car. You see the fuel going in on the 18, and on the right-hand side of the car, they will start taking tires. Gio was relating to his team that the car felt like it was getting tight between 3 and 4, and though this isn't a competitive stop, these cars will go out the exact way they came in. What's competitive about it, as you guys just said, those tires right there.
Thanks, Amanda. Butterbean elected to stay out, as did several other cars. We see the work continuing on Gio's car. We also heard earlier that Leland Honeyman's team was debating coming down the pit lane. Should a caution flag fly? It did. He's positioned right behind Gio's team right now.
Yeah, what these pit stops are called are modified live. That means the pace car is still circulating around the racetrack. Again, only 4 crew members across pit row. You can't fuel and change tires at the same time, and you will not lose your position, but you do have to beat the pace car back out before the pace car comes back around to lap you.
We talked about that still scheduled caution at the halfway point. We showed the race analysis earlier. The fuel window is north of 60 laps. That's strictly just to make sure nobody has any fuel concerns under the green flag conditions.
Yeah, so the question now is, if I'm on the pit box of the 18, it's, do we try to get track position back? Do we go hard here? Do we want to get the lead back? Or do we just take care of these tires for 10 laps, ride at a super easy pace, do not scrub the tires at all, and then, you know, have that track position back? The hard thing for me is he was already leading the race. He was already going to have that track position. You only have, you know, 14 cars on the lead lap. So I don't know exactly how this is going to play out, obviously. They do have a set of scuffs from practice still sitting in the pit box. They ran 1 lap on for qualifying runs in practice. So maybe they think that's an option, and this is a good opportunity to maybe adjust on the car, see if they can make it better, so when they get to that second stop, it's another opportunity to make the car better.
And I love the fact that we have differing strategies here. Obviously, we saw the 18 come down pit road, the 28 and the 77 of Corey Day stay on the racetrack.
Yeah, the opportunity for these modified live pit stops certainly provide another wrinkle to how this race is going to unfold. A lot of talent made up across this ARCA Menards Series field tonight, including our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver. Another entry fielded by Rev Racing. The driver who hails from Mexico City, Eloy Falcon, is tonight's Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver.
Really, he's done a nice job. He's also runs full-time in the NASCAR Mexico Series. They're in the middle of their playoffs. They're one race into their 4-race playoffs, and he's 5th in points in the NASCAR Mexico Series. In addition to running a handful of races here in the ARCA Menards Series, he had a great run. Eric, we were talking about earlier today at Rockingham, finished 3rd, drove his way to 3rd at Rockingham in an ARCA Menards East race earlier this year.
And he's also had success on the short track side. Got himself a late model stock win at Southern National Motorsports Park a year ago in that transition stateside to try to earn more opportunities like this. Currently, Eloy is running in 15th spot. We see the 97 of Jason Kitzmiller being penalized 1 lap. We talked about the pit procedures. They committed the ultimate felony. They added fuel while changing tires at the same time.
Eric, this rule has been in place for 2, 3, 4 years now, so there's really no excuse for that whatsoever.
Yeah, Phil, the only thing I can think is these pit crews normally have a race break, 3-4 minutes or so to fuel, put tires on. You see that pace car still out there on the track, and I could see a crewman getting antsy. He's like, oh, I better get this fuel in this car.
Little sense of urgency.
That's right.
Well, it's going to cost him a full lap.
We talked about the best points battle we have across the top 5 right now is between Kitzmiller and Isabella Robusto in the battle for 4th. And with Kitzmiller now getting kicked a lap down, Isabella running 5th on the racetrack. 5 cars stayed out under that most recent caution. Queen being the obvious one at the top of the pylon. Corey Day, Mason Mitchell, Andy Jankowiak, Taylor Reimer unofficially scored your top 5.
Well, the good news for Jason Kitzmiller is we know we're going to have another caution in a few laps at that 50-lap break, and there's only one other car that's 1 lap down, and that's Tyler Reif. So right now, the objective for Jason Kitzmiller in that 97 is to find that 23 car of Tyler Reif and try to get by him before this next caution comes out.
Well, start your Saturday strong with Big Noon Saturday. Number 21 USC is looking for a Big Ten statement as they take on the number 23rd ranked Illinois. It's all going down live from Champaign, starting Big Noon kickoff 10 a.m. Eastern, and it's USC Illinois only on Fox.
Is that the Fighting Illini?
That is the Fighting Illini.
That's right.
Learned that today. We like to have fun. Lights are out atop the pace car, wrapping up this first caution. Next, yellow, at not least, I was about to say guaranteed to fly, but we know we're going to have a caution about 13 laps from now. So, Trevor, I'll extend on the thought that you threw out there. I think one of the big questions that we have on this restart is what is Gio Ruggiero going to do outside of row 3?
Well, I mean, he has the opportunity being on the outside on this restart to go top of 3. We saw 3-4 wide on that first restart. That's his best option, right? Get to their outside, try to carry momentum. If I'm Gio, I'm probably going to charge, get to the lead, and then ride. You know that you're a second and a half faster just on tires alone. Now, I will say, Phil, tire temperature matters. These tires have cooled down for their leaders. They should have a little bit more pace, but over 3-4 laps, they're definitely going to fall off pretty fast.
Yeah, Matt Ross, crew chief for Gio Ruggiero, knows he's got another set of tires in the pits. I think he may be a little vulnerable if he puts another set of tires on. He may not do it at lap 50. He may wait for a caution, hopefully at lap 60 or 70. But then if we get a caution with 10 or 15 laps to go, then he's going to have to put some older tires on if he changes. And there's Matt Ross right there.
So you see of those lead lap cars, the top 5 in the running order right now are the ones that stayed out. Everyone else pitted there on that caution.
And again, no choose option in the ARCA Menards Series. The only driver who has the choice as to where they want to restart is the leader. And as he did to start this race, Brendan Queen has picked the bottom. Corey Day in his 3rd start of the season up top. Former champion Mason Mitchell inside of row 2 with Andy Jankowiak your front 4. The last car that stayed out, Taylor Reimer, rounds out your top 5. Back underway with 62 to go. A couple of cars spinning the tires, getting back underway.
A lot of wheel spin on that bottom lane. For all 3 of those.
How about Corey Day? Just like Gio did early on, maybe try to take that lead from the outside.
And just behind him, Ruggiero splits the middle to get to 3rd. Side by side for the lead on the backstretch. Day up top, Butterbean down low.
Keep an eye on this 18 car. He may elect to make it 3 wide. Pedal on that throttle.
Yeah, and you don't know. You don't know if that's to take care of the tires. If, you know, he's had instruction, hey, they're going to have to pit here at some point. Take care of those tires.
Yeah, especially if I know I'm going to stay out at lap 50. There's no reason to push the envelope.
Day credited as the 3rd leader of this race, but off of turn 2, Butterbean slides up across the bow of the 77 to cement the lead back.
How about Leland Honeyman has grabbed that third spot. He parlayed a pit stop at lap 34. Right now in third in front of Gio Ruggiero.
And how about LeVar Scott? Just got a monster run off turn 4, up to 5th.
I really do think Gio's in conservation mode right now.
I mean, you see it right there on exit. The only thing is he's going to have to race that 20 and the 6 car. They're on the same strategy he is, so you don't want to give up too much track position.
Scott committed to the outside lane. Gio dives way down low, and Scott's gotten into the wall behind him. He just brushed the fence as he was trying to protect that 4th spot.
Let's see how much damage. You can see there's a good bit of damage. You see the paint is gone from the right side tires. Really has to keep an eye on that right front tire. Take care of that right front tire till we get to that break.
Got about 9 more laps to get there as the battle for 3rd is now between the Venerini Motorsports 20 of Honeyman and the Joe Gibbs Racing number 18 of Ruggiero.
You think Giro was told that maybe the 20 is on the same strategy as you? We want to be in front of him?
Yeah, I think there's that perspective, and then there's also the more air you have on your car, the more downforce it makes, and that's going to help with tire wear. You're not going to be asking as much out of that tire laterally, so you know, you see the 6 of LeVar Scott just going to turn 3, gets up in the gray a little bit, gets loose, slides up, hits the fence.
Absolute heartbreak for Scott, who the race at Salem kind of ended with that similar of a fashion there. But right now he's still nursing the car in 5th as we watch this battle continue to rage on. Ruggiero has cleared Corey Day to take sole possession of 2nd. This is Honeyman on the inside, Day to the outside in a battle for 3rd.
Yeah, Ruggiero right now is about 4/10 of a second faster than Butterbean, our leader, as this great battle for 3rd continues.
And Day, one of the cars, he dusted off the fence there off turn 2 that time. Day's one of the cars that stayed out. Honeyman, one of the cars that stopped, trying to make up ground. To Caitlin.
Yeah, taking a look at Corey Day, I had a chance to talk with Shane Huffman earlier about the fact that he gets to work with a variety of different young drivers, and he said, I actually really enjoy taking on that mentorship role and actually being impactful for their careers. Now, right now, Corey Day is saying he started free and then he ended up losing overall grip throughout the course of the run. Amanda?
Yeah, and listen in on the spotter chatting to Gio saying, run our race, keep those tires under you. And Phil, you were right on it when you said, is he conserving? His crew chief told him before he left, make sure to save fuel, bud.
Yeah, but I think right now they were prepared to go the rest of the way. We talked about the pit window being somewhere between 60 and 65 laps. Well, they pitted with 66 laps left.
Well, that's a good point that Amanda made. The fuel conservation, we're talking tire conservation here because we want to have the pace, but they might have had a number. Hey, you got to save for 2-3 laps, and that might be why we saw him slow down for those first 2 or 3 and then flip a switch and take off. I thought it was kind of odd. He just took off all of a sudden. It's like, hey, that's not really saving much, but if they got to their fuel window, then he can go hard.
Yeah, he was almost a full second slower that last lap than he was the lap we were talking about when he was 4/10 faster than Butterbean.
The good news for Matt Ross and company is that they will have a chance to use some caution laps. They're going to get it now. Scott, the right front, appears to have gone down after the brush with the wall, and he brings out caution number 2.
That's what I was afraid of after that contact with the right side of that car. We see that happen so often. There's so many parts you don't see. It's not necessarily the fenders that are rubbing the tires, but it's sway bar arms and ball joints and control arms.
And that was a pretty good first initial hit that we saw into turn 3, enough to move any of those parts.
Remember, that guy has not finished worse than 11th in every single race this year. 15 top 10 finishes, 2 11th place finishes in his actually 18 races we've had so far, 2 to go.
And throughout his career, 4 second place finishes across 2024 and 2025. And last week was the 3rd race where he had led more than 20% of the total laps at 44 career starts, still knocking on the door to that first career win, but it will not come tonight in Kansas. Under our second caution, here's how LeVar Scott got up and into the wall to put us under yellow. We'll come back for more to Kansas right after this. Just shy of halfway in the Reese's 150 at Kansas Speedway. Working our second caution after LeVar Scott got up and into the wall, and this is also going to serve as what was the originally intended scheduled caution for teams to work on their cars. Let's go to Caitlin.
Well, taking a look at Brendan's car there, I talked with that team earlier. They brought the same car they won with here in the spring. Very similar setup, I was told as well. Brendan saying the center just gets free, the front end takes off on me as the run continues. And for Corey Day in the 77, a good showing so far from him. He said, once I get behind the 28, I could not drive it. It went straight to the wall.
Thanks, Caitlin. And those cars that did stay out on that first caution back on or around lap 30, now taking the chance to come down to the pit lane here, and what's going to be the opener for the second half of this race. Also should be noted, Jason Kitzmiller, who was penalized on the first yellow for adding fuel and changing tires at the same time. He was the recipient of the free pass this time around.
I bet you they didn't do that same.
One would hope they didn't do that.
Good look at Corey Day. Spire Motorsports entry here for Corey Day.
Last couple of cars wrapping up their work down pit side. Restart coming up from Kansas. Welcome back to the Kansas Speedway. It's the Reese's 150, round number 19 of 20 of the 2025 ARCA Menards Series season. Wrapping up our second caution on the night, which also served as our intended yellow on the night for these race teams to work on their race cars. And gentlemen, we've been talking through the split strategy that has pretty much divided up our competitive and lead lap cars. And before we dive into that deeper, let's look at our Richmond mid-race report.
See, Gio's inherited that lead when that caution came out. Brendan Butter being queen came to pit road. We've had 3 leaders, 5 lead changes. Still have 13 cars on the lead lap. And get back to that strategy. Trevor and I talked during the break. We really don't see the advantage for the 18 of Gio Ruggiero to have pitted when he did on lap 34.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that they did it because it makes it more fun for us. We get to see how this whole thing plays out now, but I can't wrap my head around it fully yet. So we'll see what these older tires do, and we'll see right here how well Gio took care of those tires on that short run. You know, only has 7 or so laps of hard running on it. He is a short track racer. I'm sure he has experience with that. But for drivers like Leland Honeyman and Isabella Robusto, how are their cars going to hold up now? How can they hold on to track position compared to these new tires that they're going to have right behind them? Only our top 4 are on older tires.
Less than a lap away for the restart. Let's take a look at one of our Reese's Sweet Move of the Race nominees earlier on. And it came off of our most recent restart in the battle for the lead between Corey Day and Brendan Queen.
Remember the initial start of the race. Gio Ruggiero got the lead from the outside. Corey Day was trying to do the same thing, but Butterbean fought him off here with a great run through 1 and 2.
Don't forget to visit ARCARacing.com on Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern to see who was crowned with the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. And the battle for the lead at the end of that lap could be what the finish of this race looks like, given the history at Kansas. So there are the 2 cars that were fresh off the pit lane. Brendan Queen is going to restart 5th. Corey Day outside in the 77-6. Top 4 cars stayed out. Last pitted on lap 34.
What, 7, 8 green flag laps?
Yeah, I think it was right at 7 laps here. And I'm going to be excited to watch Corey Day on the outside. We saw him go right to the top on the initial start. And now he's on fresher tires than those 4 in front of him. So as good as Brendan Queen's been, I think Corey Day's in a better restart position here if he can get to the outside.
And we thought Gio was maybe holding back a little bit, trying to save those tires. But no such thing for those other guys that have fresher tires now.
Well, no matter how much you save, you're still burning the tires a little bit.
Front 4 in a league of their own as we're back underway with 47 laps to go. Ruggiero with a good launch, but Honeyman's keeping him honest. Butterbean way down to the apron, 4 wide as they go to 1.
See Corey Day get to that right rear of the 46 of Moffitt. Making quick work, but Brendan Queen's fighting right on the bottom there. They split him, both into the second row. Now, where do you go into turn 3?
I think Corey Day would love to go up above that 18 of Ruggiero, and that's where he's going.
Yeah, Brendan Queen gets trapped on the bottom behind Honeyman there. Corey Day with a big run off the top.
Remember, as these tires cool off, again, we talk about 7 laps. These tires cooled off a little bit. They'll be good for a couple laps, but long-term wise, Gio should be at a disadvantage next to Butterbean's tires.
Yeah, and he will be until they pit, if they get an opportunity to pit. Those 7 laps stay on those tires throughout these next 50 laps, or 46 to go.
And let's don't forget Corey Day's on the same strategy right now as Butterbean. He has fresher tires than does Gio Ruggiero as well.
Butterbean lost some time there after Honeyman was able to get by him. He also got back around Mason Mitchell, who will be the 3rd car in the running order right now, who also pitted on lap 49. He runs 5th.
Mason had a great top 5 finish here earlier this year, had a 3rd place finish, former winner here at Kansas in the ARCA Series.
Yeah, and I wouldn't count Corey Day out even if it was heads up on tires. That first run, we saw him settle into 3rd, and once they got about 10 laps into the race, he was clicking off the same exact lap times as our leaders. So all 3 of our top 3 have very close cars.
I'll tell you, that last lap, again, with Gio with some laps on his tires, that was about as fast as any lap we've seen this entire race at a 31.25.
Been a while since we've seen Corey in ARCA competition. You got to go back to round 2 at Phoenix. As of late, he's been on a bit of a heater. He's captured multiple wins in the high-limit sprint car series, and also been doing really well on the pavement side. Top 10 in the truck race at Darlington, and also the Xfinity race at Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Well, guys, we talked about this track cooling down. That 31.25 that you mentioned was only a half a tenth off their qualifying time. So this track is starting to pick up. You see the bottom coming back to life. They're probably running wide open right now, so that shortest distance is the way to go. And they're going to have to migrate here and learn that the quickest they can.
Is Mason Mitchell getting around Leland Honeyman and move up to 4th. Andy Jankowiak in the Kloss Motorsports number 73. Talked to Andy during the week and said, okay, what else are you doing this weekend? He said, well, by the time I fly back from Kansas, team's picking me up with the race car and hauler. I got a sport mod race, a TQ race tomorrow, and a tour mod race on Sunday, all at Lancaster Speedway. Andy just can't stop racing.
That makes me tired even thinking about it.
Andy now alongside of Honeyman in what would be the battle for 4th. His best finish this year was 4th as he threaded the needle around Brad Smith, who started all but 2 ARCA races at Kansas.
Take a listen here to Brennan Queen and the amount of throttle time. We talked about it earlier, and they have fallen off a little bit on lap time since the beginning of this run, but listen in for this lap.
The last 2 laps, Butterbean has been fat. The last lap, he was the fastest car on the racetrack. See that last.
That 77 to Corey Day as he's trying to push him up the racetrack, use that air. We talk about these 1.5 miles, and for these ARCA drivers that don't have a ton of experience on bigger tracks, that air is such a factor. Brennan Queen doing a nice job keeping clean air on his car.
Day now going to commit to that top side. Big run through the center of the corner off for Butterbean to get back up to 2nd. Now about 1 second behind Ruggiero, the leader, with 40 laps to go.
Now clean racetrack for Butterbean. We'll see what kind of gain he can make on Gio.
See him working that top lane.
With that battle happening, the gap actually grew for Ruggiero to about 1.5 seconds that last time by, but we can see Butterbean now starting to open up a bit of a deficit between himself and Day. Ruggiero threading his way through a couple of cars that are off the lead lap. It's Ruggiero the leader, Butterbean 2nd, Day 3rd, then Mitchell, Jankowiak. Of the 4 cars that restarted this race, all who pitted on lap 34, the only one that has remained in the top 5 is the leader, Gio Ruggiero, right now.
Brennan Queen cut that lead down to just under 1.5 seconds that last lap, gained 3/10 on our leader.
Let's go to Amanda.
Well, from a 2-car garage in Chicago to 100 wins, multiple championships, and a legacy that will live on forever. Bill, we know what you have meant to this sport. What has this sport meant to you?
Man, it's meant my whole life. You know, I've been doing it 52 years. Been a family thing, you know, since the beginning. My wife, my son, who's made this possible. I mean, he's built the company to what it is. My daughter, yeah, it's going to get emotional now. And, you know, I haven't really thought about it. But, you know, it's time. 52 years has been long enough. I need to turn the reins over and let Billy's been running the company for 18 years now anyhow, but and I think now it's time for me and my wife to kind of go off in the sunset. But don't worry, we'll be back. We'll be in Daytona for sure.
passion and your dedication. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda. And Phil, I think it's finally starting to set in a little bit for Big Bill. We got to talk to him a little bit last week at Salem. And I mean, the resume is unbelievable for all that organization has been able to accomplish in this series.
Yeah, I'm over 100 wins in the National Series, 110 wins total between the East and the West Series, several driver championships, and plus a class act too. Bill Venturini is one of the guys, when you see him in the garage area, it puts a smile on your face.
And I think of all the different driver eras that he's gone through. You look at Joey Logano, you know, in that partnership they had with Joe Gibbs Racing for a little while, where Joey came and drove for Venturini. That program really took off at that point, and maybe had success before them, but that's when I was growing up around this series and paying attention, and Joey was always so strong in those Venturini cars. Then you think about Jesse Love, you think about Corey Heim, and some of the drivers that have had the opportunity to race and win in his cars.
When they got together with Toyota, it just really elevated that program, and they've been outstanding ever since.
And as he said, he'll most likely be at Daytona, and we'll certainly see Billy with the Nitro Motorsports team at least for next season. Ruggiero still out front, 34 to go at Kansas. ARCA Menards Series Racing on FS1 is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards. And by Bounty. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. Just 28 laps to go here at the Kansas Speedway for the Reese's 150, and the driver who is parading the field right now has led 57 of the 72 laps turned thus far, is also tonight's Sioux Chief Fast Track driver, the 20-year-old out of Seekonk, Massachusetts, looking for career win #1 in the ARCA Menards Series, our leader, Gio Ruggiero.
We talk about his success this year in the Truck Series. How about that second place finish at Daytona to start the season off? He's got 11 career ARCA starts. He's finished second 3 times. He wants to get off that second place finish.
Yeah, I think kind of the eye-opening thing for me was watching Gio at Darlington. I was in that truck race with him, and it was his first time ever being there. And he managed that race so well, ran on the top 5 all day. And it was like 3 laps to go, and he had that moment where he got into the wall off of turn 3 and 4, and you know what happens there. It ends your day pretty quick, but I was so impressed watching him be able to make speed at a track as tough as Darlington. And since then, I feel like Gio's been a top 5 guy in trucks every week, and we're seeing that progression here, looking for that first ARCA win.
And we've talking about the fact that he's got a little bit of a tire disadvantage, but I think that is evened out now. He's opened up about almost a second 3/4 lead right now, and these cars have really been hitting some heavy traffic, just like right there. But I don't, even clean racetrack, I don't see the fact that Butterbean really has much of an advantage on this 18 of Gio.
Yeah, it seems like being able to dodge those lap cars and choose the right lane is everything for this gap that he's been able to manage. It's a 4 to 5/10 swing when they catch a car like that. So if you can work traffic well, you see right there in the same frame, Brendan Queen sneaking in there, only a back to 1.2 seconds back.
Well, the battle for the lead tightens up just a short while ago. The driver's second in points, LeVar Scott, found trouble for the second race in a row. Caitlin is with him.
Well, Eric, 2 weeks in a row, disappointment for LeVar Scott. Your team telling me something with the right front suspension broke. What were you feeling inside the car on that last run?
Honestly, I didn't feel nothing. It just kind of happened out of nowhere, but I think a few laps before that kind of caused that I was behind the 70 and got in his dirty air, so put more wheel into it, then got loose and hit the wall. So it's something that I did, just trying to get the most out of it. I was driving a little bit, but I got a good message from a good friend, Bubba Wallace, and I got to just take a step back. So that's what I'm going to do and just reset. I mean, I know I can get the job done, but got mentally reset and just start over next week.
Thank you. 2 weeks now, LeVar Scott having a frustrating end to the day. Eric.
Thanks, Caitlin. And for perspective, coming into this race, Brendan Butterbean Queen's average finish on the year, 5.11. LeVar Scott's 5.72. Even though LeVar hasn't visited victory lane yet, he has had a strong season. Going to try to close it out the best way he can next week.
Yeah, just in all of his honesty. You know, we talked to him after the race at Salem, and he was heartbroken of that race getting away, and he just took credit for it. He got in dirty air, got in the outside wall, and he said, I'm the one that contributed to that right for suspension braking. But nice young man, and you just hope for success for people like that.
Now the gap between the top two has started to wind down a little bit here as we check in on Taylor Reimer, who's having a great run, right now scored in 7th.
Yeah, that long-time sponsor, Buzz Ball's been on her open wheel stuff or short track stuff. Taylor, first ever start on any kind of a racetrack like this, really doing an outstanding job. She started back in the 13th spot, immediately started moving forward, and now she finds herself up running 7th. Really nice job by Taylor Reimer.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with this. It's not often you see somebody jump into a 1.5 miles and be able to just pick it up as quick as she has today. I've been asking our cameraman if they can find Corey Heim out there somewhere. I know earlier in the week, Corey Day got smoked there. We saw this issue in practice as well.
Day was running 3rd at the time, about 7 seconds in arrears of Butterbean and Ruggiero, and more smoke trailing from the 77 car. It was a loose line in practice.
And we're hoping that's what that is there, not a terminal engine problem.
Yeah, the way it's coming out of the back of the car and not out of the tailpipes, it looks to me like it could be that same thing again, Phil.
It's going to certainly take him out of contention as the caution does come out. I think that's why actually driving straight to the garage area. So end of the day for Corey Day. And that's the reason right there.
As we said at the time, Day was running in 3rd position, and here it is at the end of the back straightaway. Kaboom.
Yeah, tough break here, but it's going to give these crew chiefs an opportunity to make a decision. Do you want to come in, put that next set of tires on it? I got to believe we will.
I think
with
you
only
have to
11 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, 20 to go. You're over halfway through this tire run, and we saw that with a 10-lap tire disadvantage, you could still hold the lead. Gio did it, so there's not as high of a risk if you go in pit here. There's a late caution and somebody else comes down, you still have a shot at this thing.
Or a lot of experience right there. That was Mike Gricci in the blue shirt. There's Shane Huffman.
Carson Hocevar creeping in.
Yeah, Shane actually runs the Pinnacle Racing Group team that Butterbean drives for, but they also help out when the Spire runs this 77 car. So Shane was calling the shots on this 77 car, and unfortunately it's going to be a shorter night.
Now, we talked about practice for Corey Day. Here's what that looked like earlier today. This was coming off of turn 4 down the front stretch.
And we know now that was a line that came off, and I wondered at the time, I said, man, I wonder if that thing ran without any oil pressure for any length of time. And unfortunately, this lasted almost 80 laps, but this is a little bit of bigger situation here in terminal for this 77 of Corey Day.
Much more spectacular smoke show for that 77 of Day, who was on par to have a pretty solid effort here tonight at Kansas. Less than 20 to go in the Reese's 150. We'll come on back for the finish.
Yeah, you're looking at 2 cars there, one with 50 laps and the other with what, Phil, 30 laps?
30 laps,
on
yeah.
their tires. So, I think Gio has probably the easier decision here. And for the 28, it's, hey, do we try to pull something out of the hat, do the opposite, hope for a late race caution? Do we try to stay on the same sequence, do what the 18 does?
Remember, the 18 was able to hold on to the lead after the mid-race break, but he only had 7 green flag laps on his tires.
And they were easy laps. He rode pretty easy on them. Now, at 17 laps to go, once you get these tires, you're going to have to go hard. When we take the green, it'll be 14, 15 laps to go.
Yeah, Butterbean has 30 hard laps on his tires.
It should be noted, 10 cars on the lead lap. Andrew Patterson got the free pass when this caution fell for Corey Day, having a mechanical problem. So if you do stop and a bunch of others stay out, you're only going to start as far back as row 5. So that's something else for these teams to consider.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. So I think I've got to come. And if I got an opportunity here, I'm going to come and get tires.
Let's get an update on Andy Jankowiak, who's having a great night so far. Caitlin has more.
Yeah, great night indeed. And I had a chance to talk with Andy, and he said one of the biggest assets for him here is TJ Majors, his spotter. He said, we stayed up till 1 a.m. this morning, one of the nights running simulation for this track at TJ's house. But he said TJ is just one of those spotters who's not afraid to get on the radio and coach him, give him insight on all different parts of this racetrack. He said he's always dissecting everything, never takes a lap off. He said, I know he could have maybe gone to some other race teams, but he stuck with us, and it's been hugely advantageous to this team. And Trevor and Phil, you guys know how much a spotter can really make a difference for your program.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at a track like this, you've got to get feedback every single lap of where are the leaders running, where do I need to run, where's the guy behind me running so I can aero block. Ross Chastain obviously was super aggressive when all of his aero blocking. Now everybody's picked up on that, and so you've got to take the air off the car behind you as much as you're chasing the car in front of you.
Yeah, spotter is a whole lot more now than just telling you clear. There's so much more involved with watching telemetry and things like that, even during the race.
Pair of Buffalo, New York natives trying to capture an ARCA win together in what would be the first time for Andy Jankowiak. And the spotters are going to have a moment here to take some of the pressure off because the pit lane is open this time and the focus will shift now to the crew chiefs. What are they about to do? It's got to be about the nervous I've felt before watching a final pit stop sequence so far this year. We don't get to see this all that often on the ARCA slate with the way the rules are right now, and here's our answer.
We'll see if anybody. Obviously, here's the 18 and the 28 coming down. I think all the lead lap cars are coming down pit road.
Yeah, so no mistakes here. Do not put fuel and tires on at the same time. Take your time, do all the right things. And then the other question is, what adjustments do you make? These are scuff tires, not sticker tires. Amanda.
Well, you guys said this one was going to be a big decision, and it was a quick decision for Kevin Reed Jr. He was up quickly when that caution came out and brought Leland in for this crucial pit stop, starting from the rear. He has a shot at this, guys. As we move on to the 18 of Gio Ruggiero, he said that he was tight in, tight out. His crew chief asked, what do you need? Well, they're going to take those tires to go against that guy right there in the 28 of Brendan Queen, who also decided to come in for tires as well. Guys, we're going to have a shootout here to the finish.
A shootout indeed. 15 to go now as the work continues down on the pit lane for these drivers, and a lot of varying storylines across not only the front three but every car on the lead lap that may have a shot should this race get a little bit wild.
Yeah, and I mentioned scuff tires going on the 28 and 18, but Leland Honeyman, I noticed he had sticker tires. He must not have made a qualifying run in practice, so he's got one lap at least fresher than our two leaders.
Yeah, I think worst case scenario, as you mentioned, scuff tires, a one lap mock run during practice, and obviously Leland chose not to do that in practice.
Well, this Sunday on Fox, we've got quite the slate for you. Two of the NFC's early season's best is Saquon and the defending champion Eagles take on Baker Mayfield and the Bucks, or the Jaguars battle Christian McCaffrey and the Niners, or other regional action. Check local listings for the game in your area only on Fox. Phil, I know it's been a rough Detroit sports week, but your Lions are doing really well.
Yeah, thanks.
Silver linings.
Yeah, I didn't know if the Tigers were ever going to win another game. But big series against the Red Sox this weekend.
Welcome to life as being a Mets fan. I know we've been talking a lot about Venerini Motorsports here tonight. This race also marks the return of Chris Wright, who's back in competition on the ARCA Menards Series side. Third start of the season and first since his podium effort at Watkins Glen earlier. Also raced at Iowa, currently running in 7th position.
Yeah, Chris was a full-time competitor last year in the ARCA Menards Series. Finished third in points, right behind the two Rev Racing cars of Andres Perez and LeVar Scott.
Now just ahead of Wright, his teammate Isabella Robusto running in the 6th spot. For more on Isabella's night, here's Amanda.
Yeah, Eric, I was talking to Isabella about her season earlier today, and she told me that while the results may not show it, this has been a great season for me as a driver. But I hope this update that I have right now will go to one special man that's watching in on this race, and it's going to go to her grandfather, who calls her after every race and says, hey, I saw you out there. I saw you race good, but they said your name wrong again. I looked at Isabella and I said, what do you mean? She said, it's Isabella Robusto. My grandfather is Italian and from the Amalfi Coast. So Pop Jerry, this one's for you, Mr. Robusto.
Well, I've known Isabella for a very long time. I mean, we call her Izzy. So we've got the first name, but she's never told me that it was Robusto until today. And I called her after you told us that, Amanda, and I was like, am I being pranked right now? Why have you not told me this? And she said it's true. So we're gonna have to put some Italian accents to this. And you want to give it a try? You gonna bring it out?
We've been practicing, right?
Yeah.
Robusto.
There you go. You got it. All right. So we're good now.
Now I've known her since she was 8 years old, and I've known her parents since she was 8 years old, and I've never knew that.
I said, you got to call us out. You got to be a little, not so nice, Isabella. So we'll see if she's not as nice on this restart right here. But, the thing about Isabella that I've seen this year is you look at Dover. She finished third there. She's run in the top 3 a lot at the end of these races. I think where we could start to look for her to continue that improvement is kind of what she did early in this race. We want to see her run in top 5 throughout the entire race. And, she has this knack of being there when it counts at the end, which a lot of drivers don't have. They tear up a lot of equipment. She doesn't do that. But we're going to work on the beginnings of these races.
Well, I hope Pop Jerry could grant us some grace, because I've been calling her races since her and her twin brother Will recording. I'm going to need some time to get used to this new pronunciation. Isabella's trying to add her name to this illustrious list of former winners and notable winners here at Kansas and ARCA.
How about a young Alex Bowman went back-to-back in 2011, 2012.
Chase Briscoe, 2016, was able to win here.
In his championship season.
Rory Heim got his first win here in 2020 and backed it up in 2022. And the only driver ever to lead wire-to-wire in an ARCA race at Kansas, Ty Gibbs, in 2021.
Yeah, one of 10 wins that year for Ty Gibbs in the ARCA Menards Series.
So who is it going to be tonight as the lights are out atop the pace car? And the first decision for the race leader, Gio Ruggiero, to make. He's elected the outside lane for this restart.
Got a replay of the initial start of the race, right? We had Butter being on the inside, Gio on the outside.
Yeah, that's right. The roles are just reversed on who gets to take the launch now. Gio has the advantage. We saw that first start. Brendan Queen got that great launch, and Gio was able to get back to his right rear before entry. Bottom lane's been having a hard time on the jump here. We saw a lot of wheel spin from Mitchell and from Queen last time on the bottom.
Well, Queen was on it last week at Salem on that last restart. That got him the win.
Well, and this is when you go for it, right? It doesn't matter. Like, you got to go for everything. So turn 1's going to be interesting. If they're still side by side at all, Brendan Queen's going to send that thing down in there and try to get clear. And Gio's going to do the same thing. So both these drivers got to remember we still got 12 laps to go. Get a good restart and race it out.
We talked about Gio, 11 previous starts, 3 runner-up finishes, trying to get that first one here in this 18 car.
Most laps Gio has led in an ARCA race. He led 49 circuits in his debut in Phoenix last year, trying to best the driver who has gone to victory lane more than anybody this season by a large margin. Brendan Butterbean Queen, your front row. Mason Mitchell, Andy Jankowiak, row 2. 11 laps left in the Reese's 150 at Kansas. Back underway, and Mitchell is pushing Butterbean to the point.
Bad restart by Andy J in that second row. The 28 of Brendan Queen gets a great launch.
And now Mason Mitchell side by side with the 18 of Ruggiero.
Mitchell, former winner here at Kansas and former ARCA champion, propels Butterbean to the lead, double wide, about 3 rows back behind him.
Butterbean says, keep racing side by side, guys.
Look at Ruggiero trying to get on the door of Mitchell, who's fighting the car up off of turn number 4. 10 to go at the line.
And when you're wide open like this, there's not much you can do. You're stuck side by side, pulling each other back with every side draft. The leader getting smaller in your windshield.
See Honeyman, that 20 car running fourth.
Big
Mason Mitchell got a little bit loose down there underneath Gio.
Gio had to bobble himself too off the corner as he just about cleared the right front fender of the 25 when he had to catch the car. Honeyman to third.
That bobble by Mason Mitchell cost him that position. All it took the whole backstretch to show. Look at 3 wide back there for a moment.
Reimer thought about going to the middle on Robusto and the 46 of Moffitt through the tri-oval. Pair of teammates, 46 and 70. Moffitt just getting past Robusto.
Hey, you got it.
Good job.
Take one. Yeah. Reimer now to the low side. These two battled for a podium spot at Springfield 1 year ago. Reimer and Robusto. They finished 2nd and 3rd respectively.
What a nice corner that time by Taylor Reimer. Not only did she clear Isabella, you saw fire come out of the exhaust pipes on Isabella right in the middle of the straightaway. I'm I'm not sure something might be wrong with that 55 car, Isabella. Look at how much ground she's losing.
Robusto has fallen back to 9th as we check in on the Nitro Motorsports cars. Moffitt and Reimer side by side. Reimer clawing her way up to a potential top 5 in her intermediate debut.
She's got that 6th spot. She grabbed it from Thad Moffitt. See Chris Wright, that 15 right behind Thad.
Yeah, and we see that gap to the leader there, just under a second with only 7 laps to go. It's going to be a really tall order for Gio Ruggiero to be able to track down Brendan Queen and get that lead back. Let's take a look at how Brendan Queen got the lead on this restart that we just saw.
And it's going to be another Reese's Sweet Move of the Race nominee with help from a friend. A big push from Mason Mitchell on the bottom. And here's Butterbean for the 2nd race in a row using a late race restart to take the lead.
So often now that 2nd row is so critical on these restarts, and Gio had no help that time from Andy J.
ARCARacing.com, Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and see if this ends up being our sweet move of the race from the final stop at Kansas on the season. As you said, Trevor, with now 5 to go, that 1 second gap has pretty much been where this margin has been for the last few laps.
Right now, Butterbean just trying to run perfect laps. Try to get a good view on where these lap cars are going to be. Make sure he doesn't catch them in the wrong spot.
Amazing how quick these races can change, just like that. See Brennan go to the bottom there, trying to keep that dirty air on Gio Ruggiero, who was running the bottom behind him.
Last time around, Ruggiero a tick quicker, but he's going to need more with 4 to go.
That's going to be tough. Oh, a little bobble there by Brendan Queen going across the bottom, but it's going to take 2/10 a lap. Pretty simple math here to figure out what he needs, and that's going to be a tall order. They've run within a 1/10 of each other almost all night long.
Yeah, Gio might have to have a little help from a lap car to slow down the pace of Butterbean. Butterbean's going to get around this lap car fairly easily, as well as Gio.
Ruggiero's got his foot planted all the way down to the firewall. 3 to go on Butterbean, who won this race back in the spring, trying to sweep the season on the only stop that ARCA visits more than once in a calendar year. Looking to lock up the championship just by taking the green flag at Toledo 1 week from tomorrow.
Lap cars getting up out of the way. They know this is the end of the race. Got to give all the room they can to these leaders and let them fight it out. Hurts Gio a little bit on exit. Catches the 11. Can't use all the racetrack.
Yeah, lost a 1/10 of a second to Butterbean that lap.
Now it's Butterbean to the outside of Michael Maples, who washes off. This could really hurt Ruggiero off too.
We know there's speed on the bottom. We know there's speed on the top. There's not much speed in the middle of this racetrack.
Or behind another car.
The one thing everyone has to keep in mind in this spring, a caution came out on the final lap, and in ARCA, the race is going to have to finish under green flag conditions. Butterbean to the line, white flag with Ruggiero chasing. And the caution is out.
Oh my goodness.
Caution is out once again.
Eric, you got the magic wand or what over there? How'd you do that?
And it's for a problem in turns 3 and 4, and I believe it was Andy Jankowiak who was running in the top 5 who has found the wall.
And per ARCA rules, they'd already taken the white flag, so we will get a 1-lap restart.
And we can blame this one totally on Eric.
I was just reading the facts. Heartbreaker for Jankowiak, who was en route to what could have been his best finish, or tie his best finish of the season, as he was running up towards that top 5. And the last start for Klaus Motorsports in 2025 is going to end in heartbreak.
We're waiting for clarification from the ARCA officials whether Butterbean received the white flag before the caution flag came out. If that's the case, then again, it would be unlimited tips at a 1-lap restart and overtime.
See what happened to Jankowiak. Good news there, gentlemen. He was committed to the top lane there, so a little bit less of an impact when that car cut down that tire and hit the wall.
Yeah, what a tough break. As you mentioned, solid run all night, top 5 all night for the 73 car.
That's heartbreaking for Andy J. and for this 2018 with Brendan Queen.
They're going to get a shot. I'm sure Stephen Dawson was more than a little bit disappointed when that caution came out.
Absolutely. Well, for a driver in most situations, you take that white flag and it's just damage control. Don't do anything to mess it up. We're going to win this race.
Talking about Stephen Dawson, here's what he thought. And this is familiar territory for he and Butterbean. This happened back in May. This is the 5th time in 31 races that an ARCA Menards Series race is going to go to overtime. And just as we saw in the spring edition, the yellow came out on the final lap. And confirmation from ARCA officials is the same thing happened here after Butterbean took the white. So it will be a 1-lap sprint to close out this race.
Now, right now, Leland Honeyman is running 3rd. And Mason Mitchell, who did such a good job on that last restart, helping Butterbean, is restarting 4th. So
exactly what I was just thinking,
is
Phil.
Butterbean going to maybe try to restart in front of Mason Mitchell, or do you think he's going to keep the inside?
Well, I think even though he got the lead from the bottom, that was all the 25 giving him that push. And we've seen that the outside most of the time has had an advantage here. If I'm Brendan Queen or his crew chief or spotter, I'm definitely leaning toward being in front of that 25. Now, on the flip side of that, the restart before the 25 had a ton of wheel spins. So, you know, what's it going to be? Is it going to be the money restart, or are we getting some wheel spin?
You see that 25 car there, Mason Mitchell. Had a chance to talk to Mason at Salem last week. And if you're not familiar with the story, he did win the title back in 2014, driving for his own race team. But the business of motorsports kind of caught up to Mason a little bit. And he had to make a very difficult decision to step away from the sport for a little while. Picked up some hobbies like racing a dirt car, mixed martial arts, you name it. But he said the return to ARCA and partnering with the Venerini organization, and perhaps even more sentimentally in their final year of operation, it's reminded him of how much he loves the process of not only preparing for these races, but running these races. He says, I've fallen in love with this sport all over again. I love to close out the year with a win at a track that I've won at before here in Kansas. And he has certainly rejuvenated his ability to step on back up to a racing series of this caliber and compete at a very high level. He's proven it all year long. For more on Mitchell, let's go to Amanda.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that quickly, Eric. I did talk to him about racing with Venturini, and I told him that we were going to honor Bill here tonight. And I said, what would you like to say to Bill? He said, Bill, I respect you. I appreciate you, your tenacity, and your passion for the sport.
Thanks, Amanda. And it could certainly end on a very high note for the Venerini team, as right now they've got 2 cars represented in the top 4. The driver trying to win the race, also going to try to put a cherry on top to a championship-winning season. Look at our last 4 titleists on the ARCA side. Ty Gibbs in 2021, and Phil, as you mentioned, that 10-win season.
Yeah, Xfinity champion as well. Nick Sanchez now doing a great job in the Xfinity Series. A couple years in the Truck Series. Guess he'll have another guy racing for a championship in the Xfinity Series.
And Andres Perez, who had a great run in the truck race in New Hampshire last week, our most recent titleist. And with the problems for LeVar Scott, all Butterbean will have to do is show up at Toledo next week. But I think he's got his objective set on trying to win out.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I said at Salem, I've already engraved his name on that championship trophy, so that's going to happen. But right now, the only thing he's thinking about is beating that 18 car on this restart and getting that 8th win.
Well, he's done it before, and that is survive a 1-lap shootout at Kansas. You don't have to look too far back to when it happened.
It's going to get wild, boys. I'll just tell you.
So Queen looking for win number 8. Ruggiero looking for his first career ARCA win on a night in which he has led the most laps. Leland Honeyman, who took over the keys to the number 20 Venerini car just 2 races ago, going to have a shot on the inside of row 2. The aforementioned champion Mason Mitchell in 4th. And how about Taylor Reimer rounding out the top 5 as we're a lap away from the restart?
Yeah, what a successful debut for Taylor Reimer here on an intermediate track.
Well, Brendan Queen left his restart partner there. He chose the bottom.
Maybe Gio saying, okay, let's go, Mason
Give me one
Mitchell.
of those. Give me one of those, Mason.
Chris Wright running in 6th. Thad Moffitt and Andrew Patterson going to make up row 4. And Isabella Robusto, who pitted on that last caution to make adjustments. We saw her drop back on the last green flag run. Hopefully they were able to do something to that car to give her a chance to drive up in this one final lap.
Yeah, you mentioned that Leland Honeyman has only been in this car a couple of races, but he's been running. He ran full-time last year in the Xfinity Series, part-time this year in the Xfinity Series. So he's had a lot of experience with a lot of restarts, so he may be a good one behind Butterbean.
Going to line up in the Xfinity race tomorrow as well as Honeyman and the Cope family racing team. But right now, his objective is to try to win this race. And he's looking at the rear spoiler of the driver who's looking for his 8th win on the season en route to a title. A determined Gio Ruggiero on the outside in the Joe Gibbs Racing number 18, his 2nd start of the season. Going to try to see if he can get the advantage back after losing the lead on the last restart.
Remember that 28 has to get to the restart line first. That 18 car can't beat him to the restart line.
Pace car is off. Time for a 1-lap overtime finish in Kansas. Butterbean and Ruggiero, everybody spinning the back tires as we're back underway.
Great job by Butterbean.
Different kind of launch that time for Butterbean as he got up through the gears better than anybody, and he's clear by about 2 car lengths with Ruggiero trying to reel him back in.
Oh, we got one around.
That Moffitt spins off turn 2. Race is still green. And now the caution flag flies.
Man, if I'm not talking, it's because I'm watching, boys. This is a wild one.
Going to have to do it all over again. Remember, unlimited attempts at a 1-lap overtime.
Moffitt, who had spun off the 2nd corner, ironically, similar thing that happened to Thad in the spring race. And Butterbean, who was navigating about a car length and a half lead over Ruggiero with a half lap to go, now has to do it again.
I think he just got loose. There he is. You see the 70 of Taylor Reimer right behind him, but she wasn't close enough at all. Just a little bit of air.
A little bit of contact for Taylor as well.
Yeah, trying to avoid
Slides
the 46.
Patterson.
All these drivers just running hard.
That dirt experience coming into play for her that she was at.
Fortunately, that's going to keep that car out of the inside wall. Kept going. I'm really not sure.
Oh,
Stephen Dawson has a very much the same reaction as he did the last time.
Something about Kansas in 2025 and trying to wrap up an ARCA race.
Yeah, when we get a chance here, I want to look back at that last restart as well. Looked like to me the 25 got another great launch, but it was almost so much that it caused some wheel spin for him and the 18 as they launch here. You see him pushing, you see his cow flaps come up, which means he's on the bumper, and that little bit of movement creates wheel spin for not only himself, but also for Gio. Brendan Queen does a phenomenal job the last 2 restarts, making sure his tires are ready under caution,
And
launching out of the box.
Arguably the harder place to restart from the bottom of the racetrack.
Absolutely.
So the question now becomes, can the rest of the field apply the lessons learned on the last restart attempt?
Well, and that second row is mixed up yet again. You've got Chris Wright on the outside, Mason Mitchell on the inside. So back to what we saw a couple restarts ago.
So Butterbean out in front, our general tire pole sitter. The driver who's led the most laps so far tonight, Gio Ruggiero.
Just saw the 17 car flash below our screen. There he is right there, Patrick Staropoli. He's another driver doing double duty. He's going to run the Xfinity race tomorrow for Sam Hunt as well. But Patrick's really done a nice job, stayed in the hunt here, and he's in the top 10 with an opportunity maybe to better that finish in the Sarafovri Toyota for Bruce Cook.
Staropoli, one of the nicest competitors you will come across in the ARCA garage area when he runs these part-time races. His best finish this season, 8th twice. And try to better that here as he'll be restarting this race in 10th spot. Here's a look at our overtime rules.
Yeah, we talk about the fact that the caution came out after the white flag was displayed. That means that we will have unlimited tips at a 1-lap overtime finish. Had that caution come out before the white flag was displayed, then we would have had unlimited attempts at a 2-lap green-white checker finish.
ARCA has for a long time been very committed to making sure that its fans and competitors have a chance to finish their races under green flag conditions. The only exceptions we see on the season, super speedways and road courses, and of course if darkness comes into play.
That's exactly right.
A look back from the General Tire onboard to the driver who has been calm, cool, and collected. The Sioux Chief onboard of Gio Ruggiero going to give us a similar vantage point as to what we had to start this race. These two battling it out.
Phil, who you got here? Who are you taking in this matchup?
I think if I'm Butterbean, I'm going to stay on the bottom because I've got Mason Mitchell, who did such a good job 2 restarts ago. That time he almost did too good a job, as you mentioned. He got into the back of the 18, caused a little bit of rear tire spin, but I really believe if I'm Butterbean, I'm going to go to the bottom. Because I don't know Chris Wright as well as I do what Mason Mitchell can do.
Imagine the nerves for both of these drivers starting on the
Absolutely.
front row and for third place.
Sure.
I mean, don't count these guys out in the second row. You go down into turn 1, if they get an even launch, put it on each other's door. This is a very aero-dependent track, as we've talked about. Really easy for somebody to get loose on the bottom. This could change in a hurry. We might think we know right now it's down to 2, but it could be a 5-man race.
I like where Mason Mitchell is, restarting on the inside. If those 2 cars get together and slide up the racetrack, that may open up the bottom for him.
And a car that has creeped their way closer to the top 5 as this race has gone on. No stranger to a podium effort. We mentioned earlier tonight he did it 1 week ago in the Nitro Motorsports car. But how about Andrew Patterson? Again, that is a family-owned team for the driver who originally hails from Dayton, Ohio, now calls Statesville, North Carolina home. But Phil, he started this family-owned operation this season, has finished in the top 10 multiple times, took his partners over to that Nitro team last week at Salem to prove that if I've got a good team around me, I can get the job done. Phil, he's proven he can get the job done in his own stuff.
Yeah, without a doubt. Had a great 6th place run earlier this year. Charlotte, one of those top 10s you were talking about. Headed for another top 10 here. We're just outside the top 5 right now.
We posed the question to him post-race, saying, do we think that you feel like you've left this event tonight here, that you have proven yourself? He said, absolutely. It looks like he's got a chance to do it again here tonight.
Butterbean chose the bottom. He's going to have Mason Mitchell behind him. If I'm Butterbean, I've got my I'm waving at Mason Mitchell. I'm going to let him know
like
when I'm going to go.
Restart,
exactly.
Right?
I'm going to let him know when I'm going, so he's ready.
And you can almost do that from second place because of that restart line instead of a zone. You know when that leader's going to launch.
Top 2 in the outside lane looking for their first career ARCA Menards Series win. In fact, that trend continues back to Patterson, who we were just talking about. We'll restart outside of row 3. On the bottom lane, Butterbean looking for his 8th win. Behind him, former champion Mason Mitchell looking for his 2nd win at Kansas. And Leland Honeyman will restart inside row 3 in the Venerini 20 car, looking to start from the back of the field after missing the drivers' meeting to see if he could end the story by somehow going from 5th to 1st on this final lap.
All about the launch.
It's going to be our 2nd attempt at overtime in the Reese's 150. About to complete lap 109 of the originally scheduled 100-lap race. Brendan Butterbean Queen, the control car, on the bottom in the 28 with Gio Ruggiero up top. Green and white are going to come out together. Take 2.
Oh, a lot of wheel spin again from that 18 on the outside. Great launch for Brendan Queen. He's thinking, all right, let's make a lap, guys.
We're 3 wide right now for 3rd. Oh. And contact.
Amongst teammates there, everybody just about bounced around one another. Honeyman to 3rd, Queen half a lap clear to victory. Ruggiero with one last shot in 3 and 4. Pins the car right down to the white line in 3 and 4.
He sent it in there, sliding up the racetrack.
But it's not going to happen. A sweep of the heartland for Brendan Butterbean Queen. He wins for the 8th time in 2025.
Yeah, just a great job. 3 times in a row. Put the pressure on. Thought he had it won. Caution comes out.
Thought he had it won. Caution comes out.
Yeah.
And then he did have it won.
And the opportunity to celebrate a championship about 8 days from now. The opportunity could also present itself for him to win his 9th race of the season. Should he get the job done at Toledo as well? But the 27-year-old from Chesapeake, Virginia, with longtime partner Folsom Fence Supply as the primary partner of tonight's race, We've seen Butterbean do some fence climbing before when he's got the support of that organization, and he's got them a win again at Kansas Speedway.
And boys, once again, it's the 28 or the 18 that goes to victory lane. 30 wins in the last 39 races. 30 wins out of the last 39. It's about 70%, isn't it? Close.
For Butterbean, it's his 8th win in his 20th start. His last win was just 1 race ago at Salem. He's never gone more than 3 races between victories, has Butterbean. And of course, his 8 wins lead all drivers by a large margin this season, but it's his 2nd win here at Kansas Speedway. And for Gio Ruggiero, led the most laps tonight, almost 3/4 of the scheduled distance of this race, settling for 2nd.
Yeah, and you know, that caution came out with 15 or so to go, and I thought that may be a good thing for Gio. He was leading at the time by a 1.5 seconds. Thought, hey, he's going to get on equal tires now. They're going to come down and put on scuffs, and that proved to kind of be the dagger for that team. Once they put on those scuffs, the restarts and everything that happened after allowed Brendan Queen to get this win.
For this Pinnacle Racing Group team, this is their 9th win this season. That's the most amongst all other organizations. Butterbean 8. Austin Green at Charlotte was also driving for this group in a 2nd car and went to victory lane there.
I was talking to car owner Mark Webb earlier today. He didn't get to the win at Salem, but he's there for this one.
This is Chevrolet's 10th win this season and the 12th ARCA win at Kansas, most amongst all manufacturers in the 31 race history between the series and this 1.5 mile oval. It's been a familiar sight all season long since the start at Daytona. With the American flag in hand, Butterbean celebrating in front of a fired up crowd for the 8th time this season. He's thinking about climbing that fence.
I think he's getting ready. I think he's getting
some
ready.
Of that gear too.
Yeah, he's getting ready to climb that fence.
Butterbean's not going to have too much time to celebrate this one. He's got an Xfinity race to prepare for. He'll be on track tomorrow, 10:30 Eastern, for practice and qualifying there for his 2nd go of it in the Collett car. I think that's just what he told Caitlin. Got to do that Folsom fence climb. And the crowd loves it. Let's go down to Caitlin in victory lane.
What a huge crowd reception here for Butterbean on yet another win. How did you execute restart after restart after restart to get this one?
Come a long way from Phoenix, having to learn restarts with these cars, but just hung in there all night. That's why you never give up, just like last week. Finally got a win for Folsom Fence Supply with the Folsom Fence Supply climbing the race. So cool to have them here. BestRepair.net on board, PRG, Marcus Sherry Webb. I've been sick, and they gave me an opportunity to drive this car, so I've been fighting through that. Got to catch my breath. That was a burnout. Thank the man above, ARCA Menards. What a heck of a season. I got to thank Driven Sunglasses, but those boys on that pit box over there, Steven Dawson, or AKA Steve-O, he's the man. I mean, what a rookie campaign. And one more race left. Maybe we can get 9, but I think we're closing in on what the main prize is, but just can't do it without them. And I'm nothing without them. So they've done so much for my career this year, and man, this is going to be a really cool to sweep here and have 2 wins at Kansas.
Well done, Brent.
And Bean Nation right there.
There you go. Of course, he has to thank Bean Nation once again. 8 wins for this team. Just an absolutely incredible campaign this year, Eric.
Thanks, Caitlin. First driver ever to sweep both ARCA races in a season. Celebrating like it's his first one, but it's his 8th. We'll wrap up Kansas right after this. The Reese's 150 at Kansas belongs to the points leader, Brendan Butterbean Queen, third driver to win from the pole this season. In fact, it's his third win from the pole this season. Did so at Michigan and Dover. Breaks a streak of drivers starting from 5th spot to go on and win this race. The last 2 iterations of ARCA competition at Kansas. Reese's sweet move of the race nominee, that final launch on the restart.
The last 3. Just do the last 3 restarts. We'll give 1, 2, 3 options. Last 3 restarts. I thought we were going to get another caution there when those cars 3 wide started squeezing each other.
Don't forget ARCARacing.com Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and see who is crowned with the Reese's sweet move of the race. And that last launch, as you said, Phil, just put them all back to back to back. He was able to get a good launch on that restart line all night long. So while Butterbean celebrates top honors for the 8th time this season, the driver who came up 1 spot shy of his first career ARCA win, Gio Ruggiero, is with Amanda.
Gio, I talked to you ahead of this race, and I said, how do you beat the 28? And you told me that I got to get in front of him early. Well, you did that, leading the most laps here tonight. You also told me that you have to execute on restarts. I'm sure you've replayed those in your mind 1,000 times now. What could you have done differently?
Yeah, I think that one time I picked the top, it probably wasn't the best decision there from the push I was having behind me. So if I had a little bit better push there, I think I would have been able to maintain the lead. But just hate it for this JGR team, man. They work so hard, and they brought me the fastest car here tonight, and we showed that, and just you know, had some struggles there on the restarts at the end, but ready to build off of it and go win another one.
Still looking for a first win, and I've talked to you in the truck series as well and asked you how your season was going. You're like, well, I haven't won yet. Why does this keep you fighting for more?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the drive of racing, right? That's why we all do this, is to go out there and try to win. So just excited to be able to be in fast cars every week and have opportunities like this. Just got to keep it up and keep running top 3, top 5, and a win will come.
We'll see you next weekend.
Thank you.
Eric?
Thanks, Amanda. As we said with LeVar last week, Gio's time is coming for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. His 4th second-place finish in 12 ARCA starts.
So Butterbean and company have a short while to celebrate this one, because it's not going to be too much longer until he hopes to be hosting the championship trophy. Just one more race to go in what's been an unbelievable ARCA Menards Series season. Next Saturday, Toledo Speedway, 4 p.m. Eastern over on FS2. On behalf of Amanda Busick, Caitlin Vincey, Trevor Bain, and Phil Parsons, and our entire hard-working and dedicated production team, I'm Eric Brennan. Congratulations to Brendan Butterbean Queen. So long from Kansas. We'll see you in Toledo.